On a recent live stream of mine, I had on a guest, Daniel Youngblood, co-founder of BigCountryPreps.com. He's a very active member of Rangers Twitter. He's a Baylor Bear. He's a good guy. Here's the interview. I hope you enjoy it. Daniel Youngblood from Big Country Preps. I don't know how to spell country, apparently. I tried to put Big County Preps is what I put in there earlier. Daniel, everybody in chat, Daniel, we're on 3 different YouTube channels right now. Not a whole lot of people here. Hopefully you'll get them on the replay, whatever. Daniel, welcome in. I'm really glad you're here.
Very cool. Thanks for having me.
So I don't know about Big Country Preps. I know that I loved in a past life high school sports, baseball, football mostly. I used to coach when I lived out in California. That's 100 pounds ago and 20 years ago probably. But it was good times, and I loved it was just a lot of fun. Then I moved to Texas, and oh my goodness, it's 20 levels above in importance from what I was used to out in California. Tell the people who are watching now and on the replay about you and about Big Country Preps, what brought you to that. You're the co-founder, right?
Yes, sir. Yes. I grew up in the Fort Worth area, a huge Rangers fan. I'm sure we'll talk about them in a little bit.
Absolutely.
Went to Baylor University, got a journalism degree there, and then ended up in Abilene shortly after graduation at the newspaper out there for 11 years. Wow. And really just fell in love with high school athletics, fell in love particularly with high school athletics in that area. So after about 11 years at the paper, my business partner, Evan Wren, and I left the paper to start our own website, Big Country Preps, and we've been doing it for 7 years since, and it's been an awesome ride. We cover all of the team sports out here, Abilene and an expansive area around it, basically 2 hours in any direction. We cover pretty much all of those schools, and it keeps us busy for sure.
I bet it does. Yeah. So, I mean, I want to talk about you, but when I was in high school, I got my first gig at a newspaper, and I just wrote a little article. It was right at the end of my high school career, so it was really my first year in not college that summer, and then the first year of college. And I wrote about the guys I knew that first year. I was writing about high school sports. That newspaper went out of business, and then the other one in town hired me, I don't know, for a couple of years to talk about, it was the same thing, writing the local article about the high school kids. And I knew a lot of them. Shoot, I was coaching 2 sports at the high school while I was going to college. So that was really fun. I thought I was going to go that route. My life changed a little bit, but it sounds like you've loved it for a long. I mean, what'd you say? 12 years now? Is that what you said?
Well, I've been in Abilene now. Since 08, 07. So 18.
Wow. Nice.
So we've been doing this 11 years with the newspapers. Now 7 years with the website, so 18 total. But I really had no chance. My granddad was a newspaper man. My father was a sports writer, and I was the one of my 3 brothers to go that route. So.
That's very cool.
Had no chance to ever make any money, but it's a really
Daniel, I hear you. I run nonprofits. I'm an executive director of nonprofits, so I love my life, and I'm not poor, but I'm closer to that than rich. Evan Carter just flied out. Who we got? Josh Young with 1 out, top of second. This is Daniel Youngblood from Big Country Prep. So, what sports do you guys cover over there? I saw some volleyball. I'll shut up and listen.
Yeah, we're pretty much all of the team sports. In the fall, it's primarily football and volleyball, and then come spring, we're covering basketball during the winter, and then into the spring with baseball, softball, track. So I just last week just got back from the state baseball tournament in Round Rock. We had a couple of teams in our area playing out there, so that's always fun. That's kind of that's kind of the end of my school year is covering those state baseball games. But
very cool.
Baseball and softball playoffs are a ton of fun. It's a lot of fun to cover.
Yeah, well, I mean, you're talking about high school. I think that college softball and college baseball are underrated. I think they're starting to give some love. I feel like they're getting more love this year than they have in the past. And I would love for that to sweep down in high school. I love high school baseball. I've loved it for my whole life. I love college baseball. I love all baseball. Who's kidding? Yeah. I mean, but I love that you're doing what you're doing. Strike 3 on Young, 2 outs now, top of 2. Shoot, I had a question for you, and then I just looked at Young strike out, and it annoyed me. So who's the best player you ever covered as a high school athlete in any sport that went on to either play professionally or go to the Olympics or whatever?
Yeah, I mean, there have been a few, obviously, that went on to big things. Abram Smith was one out of Abilene that went to Baylor, and he played in the kind of a look in the NFL, played in the XFL a little bit. Okay. Jackson Shipley, Jordan Shipley's brother, was probably the best high school receiver I've ever watched at Brownwood, an outstanding player. And as far as baseball goes, a kid who's a freshman just won the Big 12 Freshman of the Year out of Brock, Sawyer Strohsnyder at TCU. That is a name to remember. He will be he will be drafted, and he will probably be drafted pretty highly. He is a
Nice.
very, very good player.
I love hearing that. Now you're not as I'm in the DFW area, so you're not necessarily where I am. But what's up with Alito? They just have some kind of something in the water. They're great every year. Infield base hit, one out, man on first.
Yeah, they're one that unfortunately Abilene High, who has a very good football program, a very historic football program, they run into Alito a lot, and a lot of times that's kind of the end of their season. So Alito's just one of those programs that it's just a factory. They've just got a ton of talent, got a really good pipeline to that talent, and they just keep building. I mean, we got another one not too far from you guys in Argyle that's kind of that way for our smaller 5As. Where once you hit them, you know you're going to be in for a big time challenge. So
yeah, I think I shared with you that I coached in Southern California, and I moved out here 2011, so it's been a while now. But and I knew, like, I loved college football out there. Runner goes in the game safe quite easily. I like it, man on second one out. I loved I loved high school football when I was in California, where I was coaching, or then when I got out of it. And I knew that Texas does it bigger, but I really didn't have any idea. The first high school game I went to when I moved out here was 7-man, and it had more people than certainly more people than half of the games I ever played in and coached in. Oh, wow. And I was blown away. And then we went and looked at the stadiums I played in Jack Murphy Stadium in the county championship 1,000 years ago when I played, and it's probably not as nice as some of these stadiums just down the road for me, Allen. And I mean, it's Prosper. Yes, exactly. Any thoughts on that? Because I love it.
No, it's awesome. And that kind of the interesting thing is when I was in high school, I went to Haltom High School out to kind of the suburbs north of Fort Worth. And I wasn't huge into high school sports as a high schooler. It wasn't until I took that job in Abilene and really kind of really dove into it that way. But we have a crosstown rivalry in Abilene, Abilene and Abilene Cooper. I mean, they'll draw 15,000 people to Shotwell Stadium. It's awesome. It's just a great atmosphere. It's a really fun deal. And honestly, there's places all across the state that are that way. And then you look at some of these stadiums that have been built in recent years. It's just crazy. Allen's kind of the one that everybody brings up, and for good reason. But there are a lot of really, really nice ones now, and
more every year. I feel like there's one or two every year. Strike three. That's the inning. We go to the bottom of second. 0-0. We'll keep Daniel on. Obviously, not going to go to break here. I don't know. I love it. What's your favorite sport to cover? And if it's not baseball or football, what's the next one? Because I want to hear your favorite, and then I want to hear maybe something that might surprise us on high school sports.
It would probably be. I mean, football in Texas is just such a big deal. That's probably my favorite sport to cover. But the baseball playoffs, I love the baseball playoffs because it's basically one series a week. You get to really dive into that, and then. And a lot of times we'll have multiple series going on here in town or around us where I can go hit 3 or 4 different series in a weekend, and you get to see just a whole lot of really good, and whether it's small school or big school, you get to see a whole lot of really good baseball, and that's probably my favorite.
That's awesome. I can't imagine how much traveling you must do. Are you physically at the games, or are you reporting? Like, do you have people out and about? Like, I don't know how you do it, but if you must have people everywhere, or you must travel a lot, one of the two, right?
Yeah. So Evan Wren, my partner, and I, we are at the games, and then we have some freelance help that we use. Brandon McAuliffe is a fellow who uses quite a bit of, and some others that we kind of throw out there into different places as well. I primarily cover the locals primarily until the playoffs, and once our teams are eliminated, I'm out there and covering. I'm out in the area. So once the playoffs start, I'm doing a lot of travel, and like baseball, softball playoffs, I'm all over the place.
Well, that's a couple times a week now. Football at least gives you one day a week, but the other ones
exactly. So sometimes in football you'll have Thursday games or Saturday games occasionally, but primarily it's just Friday.
Very cool. This is Daniel Youngblood, Big Country Preps. Anything else you want to tell them about your website or anything about Country Preps before we move on to the Rangers a little bit?
I mean, I don't think so. It's just, like you said, bigcountrypreps.com. We cover an expansive area, like I said, Abilene, in about 2 hours in any direction. So we cover 45 11-man schools, and then a bunch of 6-man schools as well. So we stay busy for sure.
I love it. I love you came on to talk about that. Now, you're big in Rangers Twitter. We'll go to the bottom of the second inning. I don't even know who that is. Big stud lefty. I'm not sure who's hitting right here. Whatever. Malley versus the big lefty. You're big on Rangers Twitter. I think they're a little bit crazy. Not everybody, but I don't quite understand the negativity that I think is there. I'm not Mr. Popular over there. give me your thoughts on the Rangers, how you became a Rangers fan, and social media in general, Rangers Twitter. I want to get somebody else's brain on what the heck's going on with Ranger fans.
Yeah. So like I said, I grew up, I don't know, probably 10 minutes from downtown Fort Worth. I've been a Rangers fan my entire life. I really dove into the Rangers probably around high school. I don't know if you're familiar with there was the old Wizards of the Coast game, MLB Showdown. Sure. Was a card game.
A little bit. I used to run boys and girls clubs, and when I did teen rooms, Magic the Gathering. I was going to think of it.
Yeah. Yeah, that
was another game the kids liked, but yeah, I knew of that game. My kids didn't like it, but I wish they would have liked that one.
It didn't take off. I still have them somewhere. I had every card of the first set and most of the second. So that's kind of how I was a baseball fan my entire life. That's when I really became a Major League Baseball diehard, and then
very cool
Rangers, and basically since then I watch every game, but. I was kind of a unicorn as a DFW fan in that I'm not a Cowboys fan. So like I grew up, my granddad hated the Cowboys. My late granddad,
you either love them or hate them, right?
Despised the Cowboys. I've never seen anyone. It was unhealthy. He despised the Cowboys. My dad didn't really like them. I was kind of indifferent to them. So like it would drive me nuts that you'd have nothing but Cowboys talk in the middle of the summer, and no one was talking Rangers back then. And it's kind of the same way. But I think to your point about Rangers Twitter and the negativity, I think some of that comes from it's a lot of football fans first, so they have more of a football mentality that they don't understand the
totally
long 162 game season. There are parts of the Rangers Twitter that kind of drive me crazy with just some of the knee jerk stuff. I understand. I mean, you look after 2 months, you've got the lowest OPS in baseball. I understand the frustration there. I understand the negativity surrounding that. At the same time, though, you're 4 games under with one of the best pitching staffs in Major League Baseball. So there are all you need is a average to even slightly below average offense, and you're in the hunt. The question is, can we get to that point? Because we haven't been to this point.
Yeah. Well, and I also think you're totally right. I deeply agree with what you said. It's a 1 game a week, every game matters a ton kind of fandom, whatever the right word is. But I also think that it's a lot of new people when the Rangers won in 2023. Yeah. I mean, September 10th, Rangers Twitter in 2023 had given up. and look at last year, the Tigers, our year, us and the Diamondbacks. I think people just don't understand. And there's 6 playoff spots now. So
yeah,
I don't know. It kind of drives me crazy. I think that I don't want to call somebody not a fan, and I don't want to say they don't know the game or anything like that, but I do think there's an emotional and part of it's just online makes normal people crazy and makes crazy people insane. But I think you're right. I think you hit it on there. Hey, Fulton, I see you, buddy. Welcome back to the show. This is Daniel Youngblood, Big Country Preps. I can't believe the inning is already over. I don't want to send you away. Can you stick around for another couple, 3 or 4 minutes at least?
Sure. Yeah.
The inning already ended. I wasn't even watching it. Bing, bang, boom. I hate it when I bring on a guest and it's 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. But with the way our offense is, the way our pitching is, it's happening more often than not.
You play a lot of 1 hour, 45-minute games.
Exactly. The other night was, I don't know, it was the fastest game I ever saw in my whole life. Favorite all-time Ranger and why?
Probably Mike Young. I grew up. My favorite growing up was Rusty Greer. I just loved it. I loved everything about his game. I loved the effort. I loved just the high on. I loved everything about his game.
Those two both played the game right. I love those two.
But then Mike Young was probably after that. Just as a guy who wasn't super heralded, that just kind of worked his way into becoming one of the best hitters in baseball for an extended period of time.
Yeah, well said. I think he's an underrated. I mean, maybe not so much here, but throughout baseball, he's a little bit underrated. Hey, Jackson, welcome in, buddy. We'll talk about, so Jackson Green, and if you have a question for Daniel, now's the time about preps, about the Rangers, about whatever you want. Jackson asks, just saw Kimbrel signing. What do you think about it? I'll ask you first. You heard about it, right? He's a minor league pickup. What do you think?
I was not surprised by it, particularly after he got dropped by the Braves after 1 outing. The Rangers, I think, need just high leverage options. And if he can find just a little bit of the magic he's had throughout his career at different times, then he could be of use. So I wasn't terribly surprised, but I'm not sure. I think it's kind of low risk, potentially high reward. More than likely, it won't amount to a whole lot, but he could potentially be a nice signing.
Yeah, I mean, I think you're taking the tack that I've heard and read the most in the half hour, an hour since we heard it or a couple hours now, I guess, whatever. Josh Smith leading off top of 3-0-0 in Minnesota. Do you think we see him with the big club? I don't. I hope I'm wrong.
Probably not, but I think there's potential. The thing is, there's going to be opportunity. I think this team, I think the bullpen has honestly been overachieved my expectations for it. It's been pretty solid, but I think that you can always, there aren't just a ton of high leverage options still in that unit. So if he throws well in the minors, I think he's got a chance. But I just to a point that I kind of thought about earlier is I think you and I were probably two of the only people on Rangers Twitter who were pretty positive about the Patrick Corbin signing. I don't think anybody would have thought that was going to amount to much either, and he's turned out to be a godsend for this team. So,
again, I don't want to tell anybody they don't know ball, but if you looked at what he'd done, it's exactly what we needed. I mean, he throws how many guys in Major League Baseball who were available can he give you 30 starts?
And that's the big
one.
And I thought it was just like to me the advance. I thought he was just going to be like a number 5, a guy who could eat innings, that could save the bullpen, and he has been that. But he's been way more than I thought he would be. He's been a legitimate asset this year. I think I don't know where the Rangers would be without Patrick Corbin right now. Not
well, lower than where we are, and that's pretty hard to do because there's a little more spot. Hard ground ball to Correa makes the play. First out, that was Smitty. Yeah, I mean, I said, and I don't know, I'm not going to quote myself because I don't remember exactly what I said, but I know my thought was if he can give us 5 or 6 innings now and then and keep it at 4 runs or less. I mean, you go 6 innings, 4 runs, that's a 6.00 ERA. That's not even good.
Yeah.
But that's what I was looking for, and I would have called that success.
Yeah.
Because you can't have a bullpen day every 5th day.
Exactly. Just keep in games.
Yeah. Well, shoot. He could be an all-star if we could score some runs. I mean, I'm not saying he's an all-star. That's not what I'm saying. But it's not far from the all-star caliber right now. And really, I mean, DeGrom, Evaldi got some weird news today, so who knows? But DeGrom, Evaldi, Leiter, Corbin, that's a pretty good staff.
Yeah, Malley. I mean, you've been
yeah,
and then you've got Gray and Bradford somewhere out there. Although I've been even in the offseason, I was hoping that Gray would be moved to the bullpen. I think that's the best role for him. But I'm interested to see that's where.
I think if everybody's healthy, that makes a ton of sense. Yeah. I think that Gray probably doesn't want to do that, and I'll push back, but if he doesn't have a spot, I mean, who you taking out of the 5-man?
Nobody. And my thing is like the biggest thing to me is that Gray. We've seen Gray in that role, and he's looked really, really good in it. Like I think he has the potential to be a closer. So like,
and in high leverage, I mean, playoff kind of game. So yeah,
exactly.
You're totally right.
Yeah. So if you can find a closer option out of that, to me, that's great. I mean, that's awesome.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. Again, this is Daniel Youngblood, BigCountryPreps.com. We kept him a little longer than I told him. I hope that's okay with you. Any other questions for him? Now's the time before we say goodbye, guys. And unless there's any other questions, I'm going to end with this. It's June, I don't know what, 8th or something. I don't even know what the date is. What's your prediction? Are we selling? Do we make the playoffs? Do we trade off some talent? What do you think happens over the next 3.5 months? Base it up. Oh, yes, base it up the middle through Correa. Corey gets on base. I think that might be his first hit since he's been hurt. What are your thoughts on the next 3.5 months?
To me, we'll if it's really the next 5 weeks will tell us. I think if this lineup can get to a point where it's getting even just 4 runs, you're going to win a ton of games scoring 4 runs a game. If we can get to that point, I think we'll probably be at worst standing pat and trying to compete, because I think we'll close the gap if we can do that. The question is, can we do that? If not, I think you have to look at selling the expiring contracts. But I am not at all on board with any of those who are ready to enter another rebuild. I think that would just be crazy. So I think you've got with DeGrom and Evaldi as a potential 1-2, just fix the lineup and stay the course.
If we made the playoffs, you're looking at DeGrom. I mean, who knows about health? But if it's DeGrom, Evaldi, Leiter, nobody wants to play us.
No, I was talking to my dad about that. Like, if you make the playoffs, nobody's going to want to face this rotation. And the thing is, like, a lot of people think that they keep talking about regression. There will be some. This rotation will not have a sub-3 ERA all year, most likely. But these are good pitchers. It's a really talented rotation. Like, it's going to be good. It's going to be a strength all year. Just find the offense somewhere, please. Like,
amen.
Score some runs. But
Jana, you've been great. You are the worst possible representative of Rangers Twitter, in my opinion, and that is a huge compliment.
Well, happy I could be that, I guess.
Danny, though, I appreciate your time, man. So check out Big Country Preps. I kept him double long than what I told him I would. So sorry for going so long here.
I appreciate you having me on.
Yeah, well, I'll cut this up and try to make a video of it. Hopefully we'll get some more people watching it on the replay. That's Daniel Youngblood. Everybody give him some love over on Big Country Preps. I'll have you on again if you'd like sometime, buddy.
Sounds great. Thanks.
Have a great day. Later.
You too. Appreciate it.
There he goes, Daniel Youngblood, Big Country Preps, really nice guy. Follow him over on, I almost said on YouTube, over on X, formerly known as Twitter, at DP Youngblood, bigcountrypreps.com. He's a Baylor Bear. He's a member of Rangers Twitter, and he's a normal human. You just saw it. Who knew? Normal humans on Ranger Twitter. Love it. Yeah, that was Jackson.
There he goes. That was Daniel, good guy, part of Rangers Twitter, Baylor Bear, bigcountrypreps.com. Give him some love on X at DP Youngblood. Again, Daniel Youngblood at DP Youngblood. Over on the X, I really appreciate your time, buddy. Thanks for watching the video all the way to the end, guys. Give him some love on X. Let him know you watched the interview and tell him go Rangers. Thanks for watching.
If you're a sports content creator, baseball content creator, you got a YouTube channel, you've got a podcast, whatever, you want to be on the show, let me know. Here's my link tree. Find me, send me a message, and we will talk. Have the best day ever. Go Rangers.